Good morning, boys and girls. It is nighttime for me because I always record my lessons the night before. But for you, it is Monday, April 6th, 2020 or 2020. I hope you woke up super excited to start a new Monday learning through the computer with me. I wish I could see your faces, but I can't. But I miss you all. Um, so we're going to begin with English Language Arts. I know some of you have the packet for week 1 that the district sent, and I posted the packet on Class Dojo. I will post week 2 because technically we are starting week 2 today. So you can still do week 1 if you have extra time, but I'm going to start today with week 2 because it's very similar to what we did in the beginning of week 1, which is retell. So we're going to start with Monday for English Language Arts, which we're going to continue retelling a story, this time a different story. I'm going to post a video for math for week 2 as well, for Monday week 2. And for social studies and science, parents, I suggest that you look at websites from like museums, zoos, aquariums. Like a lot of places are doing virtual tours, especially now that students are at home. And you could go on there on your phone or on your computers and just like explore. A lot of museums have very cool exhibits, like the Museum of Natural History in New York. So just enjoy. There's a lot of zoos, like the Bronx Zoo in New York, the San Diego Zoo in California, and the Cincinnati Zoo in Cincinnati. So they have like live feeds on Facebook and Instagram. I watch their live feeds of hippos, tigers, lions, and it's just a lot of fun to watch. And my kids are like glued to the live feed because they're watching all these animals do whatever they do. Some penguins I heard are roaming around the zoo, like, the whole zoo is their house now to roam free because nobody's in it. So it'll be cool. So you could do that for social studies and science. I know that the special teachers had some assignments for you, but they're still trying to work out the kinks of this whole virtual learning process. So I'll keep you informed of that. For now, let's get to English. And what we're going to work today is the same thing we worked last time. Retelling a story, characters, setting, beginning, middle, and end. We're gonna read it, and then we're gonna practice telling it to someone or to yourselves, but orally. That means I'm saying it out loud. Okay? So just like we have here, the fist to 5 retell, because we start out with a closed wrist, and then we talk about the main characters, who are the people or animals, because sometimes we have fiction texts that animals are talking, animals are the main characters, why not? So who are the characters, especially the main characters, still the thumb. The thumb is main characters and setting. So setting is where. Where does it take place? The beach, the car, the house, the apartment, the forest. When, like in the morning, at daytime, or nighttime, or in the afternoon, or like in the middle of the night. So if you see any of those words. Then our index finger or pointy finger is the beginning of the story. Okay, first, once upon a time, one day, like all those are words that people use to say the beginning of the story, of the first part. And then the middle finger and the ring finger, these two fingers, are details, like in the middle of the story. What happened, in the meat of the story, the problem. Did the characters fight? Did somebody had a problem that they needed to solve? Did somebody have an accident? Like, I'm mentioning all these horrible things, but juicy details from the middle of the story. And then the pinky is our ending. So last, in the end, all those fun details at the end, okay? So let's look at our packet for week 2. All right, we see right here for Monday, that is Monday for today, Right there. Our skill is still recount or retell. Retell a story after we've read it. And that's why it says review. We're going to read Cinderella and describe and record. Record means you are going to write on paper events from the beginning, middle, and end of the text. Okay? So recounting, telling what happened in a story aloud, right? Or on paper. In this case, you're going to do both things. You're going to say it out loud first, and then you're going to write it on paper, right? You're going to talk about the characters. Who are the characters? The setting. When did it happen? Where were the characters? And the problem. Events have to be in order. I'm not going to start a story from the end backwards to the beginning. No, I'm going to start it at the beginning, then all the things that happened right after, and then I'm going to work my way to the end. Okay, so Cinderella. Parents, you can pause it here if you want so that kids can read it also by themselves. I know some of them can read it and they don't need me to read it, but even if I read it, you can pause it again. You can go back and pause this part again so that kids reread it, because in class, I always urge them to reread it, okay? So, Cinderella, a Brothers Grimm fairy tale retold by Amica Peterson. Cinderella missed her real mother. Her new stepmother made Cinderella work day and night. She cleaned and cooked and cooked and cleaned some more. All the while, her two new stepsisters did nothing. At night, Cinderella slept in the cold ashes by the fireplace. The ashes and cinders made her face and clothes look so dirty. That is how she came to be called Cinderella. Paragraph 2. One day, her father was going to town. His new wife and stepdaughters told him to bring back fine dresses and jewels. He asked Cinderella what he might get for her. 3. Bring back the first branch that strikes your hat on the way home, she said. 4. Her father found this strange, but he brought her what she asked for. 5. Cinderella planted the branch on her mother's grave. Then she cried and cried. Her many tears watered the twig. It grew at once into a beautiful hazel tree. A white bird sat in it. The bird told Cinderella it would grant any wish. 6. At that time, the king made plans for a great party. His son, the prince, would choose a bride at the party. 7. Cinderella wanted to go, but her stepmother and her stepsisters just laughed at her. Oh, you do not even have a nice dress or shoes, they said. 8. Cinderella went to the hazel tree and made a wish. The white bird gave her a gold dress with gold slippers. Cinderella put them on and ran to the party. Very different than the other versions of Cinderella we've read in the classroom, but also the ones that you've seen in movies. 9. No one knew her in her beautiful new dress, but the prince liked her so much he would dance with no one else, and she liked him. As soon as the party ended, though, Cinderella ran away, but one of her gold slippers stuck to some mud and came off her foot. 10. The next day, the prince and his men searched for the owner of the gold slipper, but the slipper did not fit anyone, not even the stepsisters. The prince sadly asked, "Is there no one else?" And the family said, "Only Cinderella." 11. Her foot easily fit into the slipper. At last the prince had found the lovely woman who had danced with him, so Cinderella would become his bride. As they rode to the castle, the white bird landed on Cinderella's shoulders. At last, all her wishes were coming true. So, you can pause it right there. So you can also read paragraphs 7 through 11. I would like you to reread it so that You do this on a piece of white paper or lined paper. It doesn't have to be any fancy. Like I have my notepad. I can just write beginning, middle, end, beginning, middle, end, and write a few sentences about the beginning, a few sentences about the middle of the story, a few sentences about the end of the story. You could do exactly that on lined paper, or if you have white paper, beautiful. If you have paper that's written on already, use the backside. Be creative, guys. Use whatever you can. If you want to type it out, you can use your tablets. If you have tablets, you can use Word document if you want to type it out on your computers. Also, you can do that. Remember the fist to 5 retell, okay? Characters, setting, beginning, middle, end, okay? So here you will write in the beginning, or once upon a time, or the first part of the story was about, and in the middle you could say then or suddenly something happened, and then in the end, after the shoe fit, and complete that sentence. Okay, so just practice, practice, practice retelling Cinderella after you've reread again. Okay, you pause this, reread it, pause this, reread it. Okay, tomorrow when we go over Tuesday, before I teach Tuesday, I'm going to retell Cinderella. But I really, really want you to practice on your own, because this is not something new. This is something we've done since the beginning of second grade, and something you've done in first grade and kindergarten, okay? So it is your job right now to retell Cinderella and write it right here on any paper you have at home on your. Okay, boys and girls, I'm sure you will try your best. I am sure you will do amazing. Send me pictures. I would love to see them. All right. Have a wonderful Monday. Stay safe. Be kind to each other. Okay.